Hi everyone, and welcome to the Lund University International podcast. On the show, we aim to give you a taste of international student life at Lund as we speak to our current students, alumni, teachers, and many more special guests. My name is Daniel Gunnarsson, and I'm working as a recruitment manager at Lund University. Welcome to a special holiday episode of the Lund University International podcast. As winter settles over Lund, we are here to share some holiday cheer and warmth from our Swedish traditions. This time of year is all about mys, that unique Swedish sense of coziness and enjoying the season with family, friends, and festive gatherings. Today, we're diving into how people celebrate Christmas in Lund and across Sweden. From holiday treats to local traditions, there's so much that makes this season so special. So grab a warm drink and join us as we share the magic of Swedish holiday season. With me today, I have two special guests, my lovely colleagues, Erik and Louise. Would you like to introduce yourself, guys?
All right. Thank you. Nice to be here. My name is Erik, and I am an international coordinator working here at External Relations. I work with migration and contracts, and I'm generally a fan of Christmas.
That's a good introduction. And yes, my name is Louise, and I have the good fortune of sharing an office with Erik. And I work as a migration coordinator at the university, and I also do recruitment of students for Indonesia, Australia, and New Zealand. I'm very happy to be here too.
Yeah, you're both welcome to join us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions I would like to start with. And the first one is quite simple for us, but might be complicated for people from abroad. But when is Christmas celebrated in Sweden? And it might be different between different families as well, because I know that some of you are actually a bit international, so you might celebrate it differently. But when do you celebrate Christmas here in Sweden?
The big hurrah is on Christmas Eve, I would say, the 24th, which might separate us from quite a few other Anglo-Saxon countries. But honestly, Christmas as a concept, I think, is basically celebrated throughout all of December.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
So the big thing for us is that we have Father Christmas actually coming to visit. So obviously in the Anglo-Saxon countries, you wake up on 25th and Father Christmas has been and delivered the presents. But in Sweden, and I think in all Nordic countries or Northern European, maybe they do the same in Germany, I don't really know. But Father Christmas actually shows up and delivers the presents. So it's quite different.
Yeah, talking about Father Christmas, when you were little, were you afraid of him? Or were you in anticipation of him arriving?
Oh, there was a great anticipation for me.
I was a bit creeped out.
Yeah.
About the fact that there's my grandfather would show up and in tradition or in our culture, usually it's like a male relative who goes out to buy the newspaper. He dresses up as Father Christmas. He comes back, asks and you well-behaved children, and then you get your presents, right? Sometimes he wears a mask and it.
There are whole operations behind this.
Yes.
It's like something out of a Bond movie that you need a cover for the family member who's supposed to act as Father Christmas or Santa Claus. They need to have an excuse. They disappear for a while. They need the logistics to change. There's an outfit. There's the beard, of course. And the typical, I don't know why this has come to be, but the typical excuse is that someone needs to go and buy the newspaper.
All of a sudden.
All of a sudden. It's this standard thing that has bbeen spoken in any and every Swedish household. And as a child, you just kind of accept it. You're like, yeah, of course. The newspaper.
Newspaper-related emergency, of
exactly, of course. These, grown-ups, they need to have their newspaper. When I was really, really young, when my great-grandmother was still alive, she made a great Santa Claus. But she was also kind of scary. She was kind of quite convincing because, no one really thought that great.
That's quite progressive, actually.
Yeah, and she was born in the late 19th century. She was almost 100 years old at that time already. And this ancient person came dressed up as Santa Claus, and so it was really there was like a whole mystery around it.
My grandfather was a farmer, so there was always a tractor-related incident on Christmas Eve, which I bought every year. I was like, oh, again.
Yeah.
Too bad.
What are the odds?
Yeah, no, I do agree with you, Louise, as well. Like, we needed to have a tractor-related incident. There are no newspaper stations. It's yearly outed by that. But yeah, someone got stuck with a tractor somewhere, and my father had to take off.
Always stuck with a
Yes,
tractor.
made perfect sense.
Yep.
Lots of snow. Obviously,
Absolutely.
someone just slid off the road.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no problem. So we're talking a little bit about families here. So basically, how do Swedes typically celebrate Christmas? Do you celebrate alone or do you celebrate with your family? And what is a family in this case?
Good question.
So in my family, we're not a particularly big family because half of my family from my dad's side is in England. So we would gather, I think usually start around lunch. I think that really depends based on families. But we in our family would start at lunchtime on the 24th. And then you like have some fika, some traditional Swedish fika, and then you have your julbord. How would you translate that? Like your Christmas spread. Yeah, your Christmas spread, basically.
Yeah.
Which is basically like every dish you could possibly imagine. We don't want to choose. And then you watch some TV, and then Father Christmas comes.
You gotta watch Donald Duck.
You have to watch.
This is
really random.
particular for us, but
For
at
Sweden.
3 o'clock every Christmas Eve, you gotta watch the Disney collection.
An hour of cartoons.
An hour of cartoons, exactly, and it's religious. This has been on since
50s.
at least the 50s, I think.
So basically, the story that we've been told was that when this first was introduced in the 50s, it was such a revolution because it was like an hour of color TV cartoons. So it became this really holy event, and that's just stuck. So we watch it, even though
back in the day, it might have
TV all
been.
the time. I mean,
I think my parents used to say that it was like the one time every year that they watched cartoons.
Exactly.
Like there weren't cartoons outside of Donald Duck at Christmas Eve.
How is that received with young kids today? They can watch
they are semi-bothered.
Yeah. My kids just can't take it.
It's not even
Right.
And because we should be clear to the listeners here. It's the same cartoons.
Yes.
It's the exact same sequence of cartoons.
Yeah. That's also the point of it. You know, it's time for Mickey Mouse.
You're supposed to laugh on certain scenes,
Yeah, but that also creates this cognitive dissonance because I think the grown-up generation wants to kind of think that this is for the kids, but nowadays it's really not.
No, exactly.
So then it's like, no, it's kind of mostly for us, you know?
Yeah.
But you still watch it, which is it's fine. It's fine every single year. So it's part of that.
Yeah. And an important thing is also the presenter of Donald Duck.
The TV host.
The TV host, and they're called like the yearly Christmas host.
Yeah.
It's
a great honor.
public. It's a great honor.
It's like the highlight of their career, basically.
Yeah, it's a public figure who gets tasked with just like presenting the TV shows of the day, and it's really cute and cozy, and it's usually like they have some talk about the Christmas spirit.
Yeah. How do you do in your family? You're in.
Yeah, it's looked really differently actually throughout the years. When I was young, because my family is quite big, we're 6 in total, and so we would like just invite everyone, like the grandmothers, grandfathers, cousins, and everyone would come to our house. But then throughout the years, people have gotten their own families, like the cousins have gotten their own kids and these things. So now it's a little bit small. Like now it's our core family, but then also obviously my brothers and sisters, they have kids, so they celebrate with us. But then sometimes they're with, the in-laws. Yeah. So the size of it all varies.
Do you celebrate Christmas Eve with like the extended family then, or do you do that on Christmas Day? Because I think that differs a little bit. I think that in my family, we usually had like the smaller family for Christmas Eve, and then like the extended family with like aunts and everything.
We do that on Boxing Day.
On Boxing Day.
So in my family, it's a very traditional farmer, southern Swedish setup.
Yeah.
So on the 23rd, we have what's called lilla julafton, which is basically like little or small Christmas Eve where you start on the food just for the sake of it. And then you have the 24th Christmas Eve, and then we have the 25th because my dad is British, so we celebrate the traditional like Christmas Day. And then on the 26th, that's the time for the gille.
Oh yeah.
Oj, the gille. Oj,
Which is also situation for gille, like party, gathering
with a lot of food, I will say. Yeah.
compared to the other days.
The rest of the Christmas celebration.
And then you invite so that's like the party day.
All right. But I suppose it's really different.
Yeah.
Before we used to have the extended family over for Christmas Eve. Now we don't really, maybe now it's changed a little bit. So it depends.
Yeah. So we mentioned the concept of mys before, like the Swedish coziness. What does that mean to you guys? And how do you get into like the mys or coziness spirit before Christmas and during Christmas? What do you do? Yeah.
That's a good question.
The mys is also pretty much religious. My boyfriend is Armenian, and I say mys, or like, let's mysa on a daily basis throughout the year.
Yeah.
So it's not just for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a verb, it's a noun, you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
But typically, I suppose you would drink glögg. Which is, it's like mulled wine, which is delicious. Actually, I gotta say, I have been around the world. I have drunk glühwein, I have drunk vin chaud, I have drunk mulled wine. Glögg is the best in my books.
Meat, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And you have almonds in it.
You can do alcoholic, non-alcoholic.
Exactly. There's also every year there's like the new flavor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the standard glögg of the year. And it's usually really, really nice. So glögg is a good part of the mys. Typically, I mean, if I paint my dream scenario here, there's an open fire. You have the glögg. You have
some music in the background.
A saffron bun.
Nice.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Or a pepperkaka, ginger snap cookie with some blue cheese on it.
Oh, that's nice.
That is actually nice. Yeah, without the blue cheese, the blue cheese makes it
The blue
perfect.
Yeah. I'm not typically a fan of blue cheese, but I gotta say,
It's
gingerbread cookies.
on a gingerbread cookie, it elevates it.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It sounds weird, guys, but you have to try it. And also, the Swedish glögg. It is a very nice combination. Yeah, almost like religion here. Yeah.
But then, of course, you have the Christmas movies
Yeah.
that you can play. Well,
Christmas lights. I think we should mention that in Sweden at this time of year, it's very, very dark.
yes.
So the sun sets around 3 or 4 p.m. basically. And it rises at 8. I don't want to scare anyone, but it is what it is. It is dark.
It's very dark, yes.
Just for a few weeks, and then it changes again. I think it starts changing on the 21st of December and becomes lighter again. So obviously you need to light a lot of candles indoors, and people will put up Advent lights in their windows, and you'll have lights like we live in a house, so we have lights in our trees outside, and that basically elevates it.
Yeah.
For sure. We mentioned a bit of like the gingerbread cookies and everything, but there's other food items that must be there. So in your family, what are these food items that you can't live without?
Well, to start with a real like stereotypical banger, we have meatballs. Swedish meatballs, which is what everyone assumes that we eat all the time. We eat all the time.
True.
So we have,
it's a hit.
Yeah, we have that, and we have like sausages. So basically, Christmas food in Sweden isn't a meal like you would have in America or in the UK. You have a spread. And so you'll have boiled eggs, pickled herring, lots of different kale. It's so funny because you can tell from the spread what we were able to produce and grow ourselves.
Yeah.
That's basically the food that's offered.
A lot of the Christmas traditions have their roots in like farmers' culture and society.
Yeah, so a lot of seafood, because obviously we're a sea nation. Salmon, pickled herring.
You gotta have the Christmas ham.
Yes.
Julskinka.
Of course.
Yeah.
And sausages, meatballs, Jansson's frestelse.
Jansson's temptation. Yes.
Which is bit disgusting.
No, I love it.
It's basically a potato gratin, a potato bake.
Yes.
With herring in it.
Yes.
And for me, that's one bridge too far.
That's so, yeah, it's a divider within the family. It's because in my family, we do the Jansson's frestelse with and one without.
Right.
Yes, I think that sounds...
Gotta have the anchovies.
Like, why?
No, because honestly, if you learn to appreciate it, then you this is a new love for you.
Oh.
And I introduced when I lived in China, I had an Italian roommate. I should say that he's really open-minded. But I introduced him to Jansson's Temptation. And now he wants Jansson's Temptation every time he comes to visit. Like if he comes in the summer, he wants Jansson's Temptation.
So you always have anchovies at home then?
Yeah. Gotta cater to Marco when it comes over.
And then we have like bread and butter and cheeses.
Yeah, special types of bread.
Exactly.
Dark bread carving, that's really typical. They're like these darker kinds of breads.
Exactly. And then, like kale, lots of different
Lots of kale,
Red
yeah.
kale, white kale, green kale, like just kale for days.
Talking about the sausages that you mentioned before, like, do all of you have like the tiny ones? What I call that prince sausages.
Absolutely.
It's called in Swedish, yes. Do you also have isterband?
No.
No?
So that's
Because I think that's a traditional thing between different parts of Sweden. In Småland, where I'm from, we need to have isterband.
Well, you love isterband.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah, I mean, it's not healthy, guys, but it's deep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that's really particular is doppigrutan.
Oh, you do that.
Dip in the pot. Directly translated. Do you do that?
We don't, no, but I know that they did previously. Like my grandfather, they did it, but my family did not.
Right.
Yeah.
There was also lutfisk.
Yeah. We do this fisk.
You do that?
We also do doppigrutan sometimes.
Oh yeah, lutfisk. We need lutfisk, but we might not do it during the actual Christmas. We do it in the runner-up to Christmas, and maybe during like the period between Christmas and New Year's Eve. Yeah, but we need lutfisk for sure. Otherwise, my mother would go crazy. Yeah, so that's another thing you need to try here.
And then we would always have dessert, which consisted of porridge, which for me was just insanity. That you would sit and have this buffet for like 2 hours. It's like, who's for porridge?
The porridge, and there's also
there's like a sugary porridge that was dessert.
Yeah. I was never on board the porridge train either. I think it's this rice porridge that, like, for me, it's not really tasty. But some people really love it.
And you would hide an almond.
Exactly. There's like
got the almond.
We're supposed to get married.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Within the upcoming year, we're supposed to get married.
Yeah. Fun thing if you're 10 years old and get the almond. For the stress. Yes.
You have to marry like Kalle from 6B.
And then we would drink at least like snaps and wine, and you sing snaps songs.
Since you're from this part of Sweden, do you drink Skåne akvavit during Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you also go with gammeldansk, which is from Denmark?
Not really.
No.
I mean, I've had it, but not for Christmas.
No.
I think we have
Well, I think we have both Skånes, gammeldansk, and Hallandsbläder as well.
Exactly. If you're a little bit lightweight, you go for Hallandsbläder, which is delicious.
Yeah, it's really nice.
But whenever I've had gammeldansk, it's been like after a meal to like.
Okay, like
the
digestion. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's what they say.
I say it's for your health. Yes, of course it is. Yes. So we talked a little bit about like the lights and everything, but otherwise, how do you decorate? And when do you start decorating for Christmas? That's another interesting thing. We had a lot of a lot of these tiny things at home already.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit too early for me, but I think...
Wait, is it too early now?
Maybe in December. No, it's okay now, yes. But I think we started a little bit too early because of the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a point of contention in my house.
Yes.
I feel like it's a fair game from the 1st of December to put up the Christmas tree. But my husband, he gets very upset. He would ideally that you like trek that to the forest on like the 22nd of December.
Really? Okay.
Cut down your own tree, otherwise it's cheating. And then you decorate it. And like basically he's like old school. But then, keep it up. So I like to start early, but then I get tired of Christmas on like the 27th of December.
Yeah.
And want to like put tulips in instead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think most people would probably say that like December, 1st of December is fair game. But people are starting earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
And my Puritan, like traditionalist view on this is that like, I should wait until December.
Yes.
But then on the other hand, I also find myself thinking, it's so dark. I'm thinking, whatever floats your boat. Honestly, like some glitter and twinkling lights.
Yeah.
Like it can elevate.
You can start with lights in November, in my opinion, because it's like non-Christmas specific. It's more for like the winter time.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
In my opinion. But then like the Christmas stuff, I agree, should wait until December.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point.
Do you both have Christmas trees, by the way?
We have a 1.5-year-old at home.
Yeah.
So no Christmas tree this year, but normally we would have a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah,
I would end up.
But also have a cat, so anything that's like 1 meter of height will get destroyed.
It's the same as a toddler.
Yeah, can imagine. So, talking about Christmas and our lovely audience here, some of them might already be in Sweden. So, do you know of any like Christmas markets or stuff they can do now to prepare themselves for the holiday season?
Christmas markets. I live in Copenhagen. I don't know, it's almost shameful to say here when I'm talking about Swedish traditions, but they have wonderful markets in Copenhagen.
For sure.
By Gammelstrand, there's one that I can highly recommend. Just yesterday, I went ice skating on Kongens Nytorv, which is wonderful. But the Danes know how to charge for things, so bring your wallet. It's gonna be a little penny, if I say so. But yeah, for Christmas markets, there's a small one at Gustav Adolfs torg in Malmö that can be cute. There are also really nice decorations at Gustav Adolfs torg.
Yeah.
But I think for like a good, solid Christmas market, you would probably need to go outside of Malmö, I think.
So true. I think there's one here at Kulturen in Lund.
It's actually pretty packed with people.
That is very, very popular. But that's actually quite nice. You can walk around, you can try the glögg and everything. It's a very nice event.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I would also actually recommend Copenhagen. Like going to Nyhavn, it's really
Yes, it is really nice.
And Tivoli.
Can we talk about Tivoli for a tiny little second? Has Tivoli been mentioned before in this pod?
I don't think it has, actually.
Tivoli, my friends, is a fantastic. It's technically an amusement park, but it's called technically Tivoli Gardens, I believe.
Yeah.
Visit Copenhagen can contact us after. Promotional offer.
Yes, it's one of the oldest amusement parks in the world. If it's either the oldest or the second oldest, I believe. But anyways, and it has these gorgeous, beautiful gardens, and there are different like sections with different themes. There's like an Asian theme. There's other themes, and they decorate Tivoli for Christmas in a fantastic way. Before that, they decorated for Halloween. So they have like a Halloween decor, and then they have a Christmas decor, and it's really something spectacular.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful, actually. I mean, I used to go there, but now with kids, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's so beautiful. Yeah, we also recommend that, actually. Tivoli is fantastic. So, since we have an international audience quite often, what other advice would you be given to international students or people living in Sweden when they're going to basically celebrate their first holiday season here? If we're not talking about markets, what should they do to feel a little bit more like Swedes in general while doing this?
I have a point of input that they should do. They should early on get tickets for a nice Lucia celebration. Lund has fantastic Lucia processions. Can you call it that?
13th of December.
13th of December is Lucia. However, the tickets go often on sale earlier, like end of November.
Yes.
Somewhere, even like mid-November sometimes. And they sell out. And I am personally going to Lars-Erik Larsson's music high school's Lucia celebration in Allhelgonakyrkan. I have been there once before, and I thought it was spiritually moving on a deep level. It's really wonderful. There are also Lucia celebrations in the cathedral or in the university main building, and they're wonderful. Lucia is quite uniquely Swedish.
Yeah.
love it because it carries on a choral tradition. There are different songs that you sing for Lucia compared to Christmas, and they are sublime. I mean, I'm all for Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, but the Lucia music is like something else.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And it's not commercial. It's like you don't buy stuff for Lucia. It's just a celebration of light in a very dark time and a celebration of music. So I'm Lucia's biggest champion.
Yeah, it's a very nice tradition, actually. I can highly recommend that as well.
Yeah, I agree with it. And they do it at school and preschool too. So this Lucia, I'm going to see my 4-year-old do a Lucia procession. My recommendation would be to take advantage of the fact that Sweden basically closes down for at least 7 to 10 days. Everybody goes off work, things slow down. So if you're in Sweden, I would say try and use the time to just take some time, however that looks for you. Maybe go up north and see some real, because we are not guaranteed snow down here over Christmas. We usually get it at some point in winter, but not always over Christmas. So maybe go up north, maybe take a few days in a cabin somewhere or go skiing. Or there are lots of great options.
Absolutely.
Since our international audience might not have their family here, we mentioned that we usually traditionally celebrate with their families. Do you also meet friends during Christmas? And what do you do with your friends when you meet them during this time of the year? It must not have to be around Christmas, but this season. How do you meet friends now when it's dark and cold outside?
Well, it's a great idea to have a potluck, for example.
Yeah.
That's something that we did often as students.
Absolutely. We have this concept. I don't know if I want to say Sweden or Scandinavia of Advent.
Yes.
I don't know if it's uniquely Swedish. I don't want to say it's uniquely Swedish. I think it's probably common for the Nordic countries. But basically, we have 4 Advents leading up to Christmas, or rather, the 4th of Advent is Christmas. So it starts basically count backwards from Christmas 4 Sundays. So 1st of Advent, 2nd of Advent, 3rd of Advent, and the 4th of Advent. And that's a real opportunity to meet and have a fika. That's what we do with our friends and family. And you light the candles. So you have 4 candles symbolizing an Advent each, and you light the candles as it progresses and you meet. So it's always a Sunday, so you're always off. That's a great opportunity.
Do you have Advent calendars?
I can't be trusted with chocolate Advent calendars because I just like,
all of them.
So I'm out.
But you don't have another one, like
No.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
I have a calendar, but we were actually just talking about it in the office like a couple of hours ago that I forgot about it. Oh no, F. I have a really good one from IKEA. That has quality chocolate, and then every calendar contains a gift card that you use at IKEA. So it's a good deal.
This is very interesting. I didn't even know they did made one, but it makes so much sense.
Neither did I until my boyfriend went to IKEA. Yeah, exactly. They sell it at the store. I mean, maybe they sell them on the internet. I don't know. But it's a great calendar.
Yeah, never seen it.
Interesting. Yeah, because I mean, at home we do have a chocolate one for the kids. Yeah. And I have one because it's interesting. The Advent calendars nowadays they can include anything like makeup calendars.
That market has exploded.
Yeah. I don't have the makeup one, unfortunately. I might need one because I'm quite old. But I got one with like fishing lures and stuff, which is also fantastic. Cool. 24 small gifts during December. It's actually really nice. Yeah. So I like it. And there's also like tech-related ones and everything. Yeah, so that's one thing I would tell our international audience. If you come here, that's actually a very nice way of counting down to Christmas because you will have 24 of these like small presents.
Gifts.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
Stationery, like baked goods, like anything you want, basically. Perfume.
No, it's fantastic. So are there any other points you would like to add to our audience about Christmas celebrations? I actually remembered one thing now. We mentioned what we're drinking. We're talking about glögg and everything, but did we actually mention must?
No, you did the ordinal.
It's like, how could we miss that? That's actually a very unique Swedish drink.
Yeah. And it's wonderful.
Was it Christmassy Coca-Cola? Right?
Yeah. Christmas must is a must.
I think I find it a bit sickly sweet, so I'm not the biggest fan of Julmust. I understand if maybe that's a bit contentious, but are you a fan?
I'm a fan.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to have Coca-Cola.
No.
Or, when it comes to any sort of soda situation in December, just give me the must.
Have you ever tried the Swedish svagdricka? Yeah. Because that's also a very Swedish thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Do they still use it? Because I mean, as long as we had like the older family alive, they needed that every single Christmas.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's not really the case. We might have it sometimes, but
True.
But svagdricka is like a sweet, watery beer, right?
Or like
It's like a mix between a beer and Julmust. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's a very unique flavor.
Yeah, very
It's actually nice.
Yeah.
It's quite filling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a little bit like a very sweet Guinness. Can you say that?
Yeah, absolutely. And a bit more watery.
Yeah. Well, it's a very typical Swedish thing as well that they might want to try out. So
Absolutely.
you have the glögg, you have the must, and you have the svagdricka perhaps.
Yes.
Exactly.
And all of these are without alcohol
Absolutely.
as well. So you can be enjoyed by anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Are there any other points you would like to add? Anything specific? Anything you do in your family that no one else does? Or maybe that's a secret, maybe we shouldn't tell.
Well, there's the baking, of course. Also, we do the knäck. It's quite often that people
Sweets.
make like fudge, but then knäck. What would you call that?
It's like a toffee, right?
It's a toffee, but it's very hard.
It's toffee. It's basically gone bad. It's not like you lose a few teeth. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly. A lot of old people have a hard time eating the knäck because they might ruin their teeth. But it's really nice. And I personally, in my family, I'm usually the one who makes the knäck.
Yes.
Nice.
And I think it's a really cozy, nice tradition to make the knäck.
Yeah, and then you do baked goods of like nougat and marzipan, and you dip them in chocolate, and you do these concoctions.
I wonder if that knäck is the reason why, we have free healthcare but not free dentistry.
That's our GDP wouldn't be able to
just go down the drain.
Exactly, yeah. And then you just eat lots of chocolates. Like we have this thing at a table called a gottebord, which is like translates to like a sweets table. That you just have free access to like lots of your body weight in chocolates, basically.
Yes.
And there's always a pile of fruit that nobody touches.
Talking about body weight, I usually gain a few pounds during this time. I think that's quite common. Or is it just me? No.
But a lot of gyms actually have classes up until like Christmas Eve. I've seen now. So people generally they go, not generally, but some go and like work out and then they celebrate Christmas. Like they try and we always go for walks and whatnots too.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea actually. That's another thing you must do in Sweden. Have a walk during this dark time because it's actually quite beautiful, especially if we have the snow, because the snow makes everything better. Yeah, of course, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And for our lovely audience, I would like to point out that the Lund University International Podcast will take a break over the Christmas period, and we will be back when spring semester starts, so later in January. And we would like to wish you all a relaxing holiday season, and I hope that you will be able to spend it with friends and family, and see you next year again. Take care, guys.
God jul!
God jul!
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Lund University International Podcast. If you're interested in learning more about Lund University, you can go to our website, lunduniversity.lu.se. You can also follow us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and X. And you can chat with our current students on Unibuddy. Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to bringing you a new episode very soon.